Here's one that hits really, really hard. You can actually be less profitable from a percentage standpoint as you grow, because anytime you grow a business, there's money that has to be reinvested into the business, and there's a stair step before you start making more money. Welcome back to another episode of My Dental Playbook. I'm your co-host, Gary Bird. Along with my friend, Dr. Blake Hamblin, we're going to be talking about who shouldn't be growing their practice from $1 million to $2 million. It's not for everybody. We're going to go through the good, the bad, the ugly. Also, Dr. Blake's going to share the CE courses that helped him the most clinically. And also, we're giving away a KPI course that you have to be tracking if you do decide to grow. Now, watch all the way to the end, and I have a $3,000 marketing credit for you that we're going to be giving away to a couple special listeners. Stay tuned. All right, we are live, and today is going to be a different kind of episode. You've never heard an episode like this. We're going to talk you out of going from $1 million to $2 million. And what we're going to do is, this is something that Dr. Hamblin has done and gone far beyond. And we were just talking about it. They hit almost $400,000 in production last month. And so they're going to go way past this. But I asked him a question. I said, what if I wanted to go from $1 million to $2 million as a practice? I'm already established. I'm already at $1 million. Talk me out of this. Tell me why I wouldn't want to do it. What's the hard stuff that I need to be aware of? And he gave me a list of about 7 things. And he also gave me the best CE and a KPI course that will help you if you want to decide to do it. So after we do this and you listen and you go, okay, I still want to do it, then these CE courses that we'll give you at the end and this KPI course will help you establish those things. So let's jump into this. So first of all, let's talk about how this came up. There was a recent post in Facebook, and someone basically was like, why do people act like everybody can be successful in dental? And you had a comment to that, Dr. Hamblin, that they didn't like, but I liked it. It resonated with me. So we got a goal to get to 10,000 subscribers, and 85% of you are not subscribed to the channel yet. So make it happen. Subscribe. Tell them.
Subscribe.
Good job. Make it happen.
Yeah. So basically what I said was that there's the reason that people that are dentists are successful, they think that everybody else can be too, is because they have the mindset of, they don't have the self-limiting thought. So when people have the self-limiting thoughts, they can't get to where they want to go. And so people that are quote unquote successful, they don't have those. They believe that they can run through a brick wall, they can jump off the building, they can do all the things that people say they can't do. And so that was kind of what I said. And I was kind of surprised that other people felt differently.
Yeah, I know, right? And so the way I always tell people is like, whatever you want to believe is true when it comes to this kind of stuff. And I'll often have people say, well, what if you fail? And it's like, yeah, you're going to fail. And you have to like get over that and stop caring and move forward and learn from it. And the number one thing that I've seen with this, and I think dentists struggle with it more than most entrepreneurs because they're perfectionists, is how many times can you fail and iterate? How fast is your iteration process? So like as an example, if you have somebody on the phone answering calls and they're failing at it, and then you give them training, then you need them to take a bunch more calls to get better at it. Like after they take the training, you just have to. And I'll hear doctors say, well, I don't want to spend any more money on marketing until they get really good. Well, how are they going to get really good?
Yeah. If you ask anybody who's quote unquote where you want to be, they failed 1,000 times before then, for sure. And so like, I look at failures as basically accelerated learning. Like I got to learn something, and sometimes it was really cheap and sometimes it was really expensive. But either way, I got to learn something really, really helpful.
Exactly. You're learning something. Okay, so let's talk through this. So do you want to go to $2 million? You're a dentist. You're at $1 million already a year. Do you want to go to $2 million? The first thing that we talked about are you confident enough to work with other dentists? Because to get to $2 million, you're probably going to have to work with some other dentist, and that means you're going to have to be a leader to them, or you might hire an older dentist who's better than you. You know what I mean? Or a younger dentist who's more ambitious than you. Like how did you think through that? How did you navigate that?
Yeah, well, I think just surely by numbers. I mean, can you get to 2? Like there's going to be people that listen to this and say, well, I do more than 2 right now by myself. Well, yeah, that's great. But more than likely to get there, you're going to need or want, probably more likely want some help to do it. And so I know we are all very type A people, and some people could have some concern with seeing the other guy be the starting quarterback per se, to where they're used to getting all the accolades, or they're used to getting all the production, and they're used to getting all the things. And it's like, are you okay with seeing one of your fellow colleagues succeed within the same practice and maybe even do better than you, but for the greater good?
Yeah. Yeah. You're helping more people. That's the part that a lot of times people are like, well, I don't want to get bigger. I don't want to do this. And it's like, are you helping people? Yeah. Well, but there's risk involved, right? So we'll talk about that. Okay. So then the next thing was doubling your staff or immensely growing your staff. So you were giving me an example of someone that you are friends with that have grown this massive, massive office, and they're insanely successful beyond what you've done. And you're crazy successful, especially at your age. But you told me, but I'm more profitable because he's building for something else. Right. So that's a scary thing. And that's, I think a lot of people, I know that like I've grown my business and I was like, okay, now I'm making less money.
I think you can do both. And frankly, we've had, me and this guy that you're talking about, we've had multiple conversations about this. And it's how quickly do you want to grow and what type of risk do you want to take? I took the approach of like, I want to be profitable, I want to cash flow really well, and then I want to maintain that cash flow into the growth. Whereas some people say, who cares about cash flow? How quickly can I grow, right? And so both are good, neither's wrong, but I wouldn't I wouldn't be very fulfilled, and I would live a much more stressful life if I was the opposite. If I was like, how quickly can I grow? Because to do that, it takes a lot of leverage and you have to be okay with that. And I don't live that way. That's not
It's stressful. You become a slave to debt, right? And I'm not like Dave Ramsey, and some people are. It's fine if you are. But like for me, I'm like, okay, there's a difference between taking a 3% loan for my house for like this payment versus taking out massive loans that I don't know how I'm going to even pay.
Well, and to be clear, I mean, we've talked about the building and like it's like I didn't pay all of that in cash, right? So I've definitely taken leverage and put it on the table, but to the point in which like I'm not 100% sure what next month's going to look like. That's where I draw the line, right? But some people thrive off that. Some people are like, yeah, let's freaking go.
I've heard a lot of people who are very, very rich, and they were like, I just bought a bunch of stuff. I bought the nicest car, and then I just went out and worked to pay for it. Like those are like salespeople usually. Very scary. I agree. Okay, so number next. So first of all, are you confident enough to work with other doctors? If you have like mental issues around that, then don't do it. Doubling your staff. Are you comfortable with that? Or greatly growing your staff? If that's something that stresses you out, you don't want to go from your 1 million where you're at right now. Now, here's one that hits really, really hard. You can actually be less profitable from a percentage standpoint as you grow, because anytime you grow a business, there's money that has to be reinvested into the business, and there's a stair step before you start making more money. And at times, I've seen businesses, Amazon's probably the best example of this. They were not profitable for years and they just reinvested into growth, And I'm not recommending anybody do that. But if that's not something you're comfortable with, saying, okay, I used to make this much profit. Now I'm only making from a percentage standpoint. I'm making less profit. I'm making a little bit more money. That's probably not a good idea to grow then.
Yeah. And part of the reason that is because as you grow to a specific point, you're no longer adding administrative team, which is a relatively lower in comparative to providers percentage. And so as you're growing, at a certain point, you have enough admin team that you can kind of grow into whatever you want to be. Like you might need 3 front office people for anywhere from 2 doctors to 5 doctors, right? And so, but when you get to 5 doctors, 6 doctors, 7 doctors, now all those doctors want to be paid a percentage of production and blah blah blah. And so those are just more quote unquote expensive hires Now they're helping you grow and they're helping you get to where you want to go as an organization. But that's why the profitability can take a hit, is because the top line looks really, really awesome, but you got to pay it all out.
You have to pay it all out. Yeah. You have to build the infrastructure to be able to support that. Okay, number next. I put this, I changed the name of it. New levels, new devils. So sometimes I'll work with like a younger person and they're like, how do I be successful? And I'm like, do you want to be successful? Like, how successful do you want to be? Oh, I want to be like uber successful. And I'm like, okay, are you okay being sued all the time? They're like, you get sued? And I'm like, yeah, right. I get sued regularly. You know what I mean? Like if I'm not getting sued, I'm not trying very hard. And it's just like part of it, right? If you're one location, one doctor, and you're touching every patient and you have like 3 or 4 staff, you're probably not going to get sued. But if you have 10 locations, like you're going to get sued by somebody, either labor or patient, or something's going to happen. Like there's no chance that it's not. And so with new levels, there's new devils that come along with that. And you just don't know what you don't know.
I like that. Yeah. I think Craig Spodak has a quote that for whatever reason has stuck with me for a lot of years. And it's, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. And I think like knowing what is going to fulfill you in life, and this goes past dentistry, but just in general, like knowing what's going to fulfill you should be your driver. And there's a prevailing story in dentistry that it's like you graduate, you work as an associate, you buy a practice, you buy another practice, you buy another practice, you sell to DSO, you go golf, you die, right? And it's like that can work for some people, but for a lot of people, that's not the story and that's not what they want. And that's not what their journey needs to be. And so I think determining what it is that you want, like there are a lot of really, really, I mean, we see them on Facebook all the time, a lot of really, really productive associates that would lose money if they went and started their own practice, right? And, or they would lose sanity, right?
Because they're not dealing with HR, they're not dealing with payroll, they're not dealing with hiring, they're not dealing with firing.
Sure. And so I think like knowing what fulfills you is good, but there's also things that like you can step into and and I think what we were kind of talking about was what you don't know what's on the other side of the fence, right? And so you get to that new level and you're like, oh man, I didn't realize it was going to be this. You know what I mean? And the beautiful part of that is like you can always scale backwards very easily, but scaling forwards is really hard. And so like shoot for the stars, and then if you need to come back to earth, that's cool. You know?
I've learned in my business there's like a million things that I hate to do that I would like. HR, I've literally told multiple people that if I have to be involved with this HR stuff, I'm going to quit, leave my company. I'll go start a new company and I'll keep it really small so I don't have to deal with HR stuff. Cause it's just like, it's like legal and like emotions put together. At least with legal, it's cut and dry and there's no emotions in it, right? Like it's so hard and I hate it. And so I've gotten really good at just being like, I'm not doing this. Like if I have to do this, then I don't want to do this anymore. So I get to do the stuff that I enjoy doing. But where I think a lot of younger people struggle, and even older people, they don't actually know what they want. Like they're working towards something and they think they want it, but then they find out when they get there, they don't actually want it. Something that's helped me over the years, because I did the same thing. I was like, I just want to be the biggest and best marketing company. Well, what does that even mean? I learned that doesn't even mean anything. It's not even an attainable goal. So then, okay, well, I want to help as many people as possible. Okay, well, I want to have an amazing team and I want to like to work with my team. That's really powerful. And then what I started to do every couple years is I would just write down on a piece of paper the things that I hate doing and the things I love doing. And there was seasons where I wanted to be just a consultant. There were seasons where I just wanted to do sales. There were seasons I just wanted to do strategy. But over time, I'd get bored of it. So what I learned about myself is I enjoy building. So anything that's hard, get it off the ground. Nobody believes you can do it. That's me. I want to go do that thing. And then I get it up. I get it going. It's working. It's profitable. Other ecosystems can build off of it. And then I get bored with it. And then I'm like, okay, this isn't fun maintaining this anymore. But there's actually other people out there that love maintaining businesses. And so okay, you get to maintain this now. This is your baby. You do this now and you make this ship fly. on a consistent basis. Have you found anything that's helped you to figure out like what you actually want to do?
Yeah, I mean, just do it all and then figure out where you're stressed out or hate life, right? And then, like, the hard part of that is giving it away because you're like, well, it's going to cost money to hire a bookkeeper. Well, cool. Like, don't sit there and input journal entries all day long. Just pay the money and move on. Your life will be much better for it. I recently did that like 6 or 7 months ago. For a long time, I just did. It took me like 10 minutes in the morning, boom, 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 I'm done. And then I got behind a couple of weeks and I was like, I'm out. Nope, we're out. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those deals. Like, you may think that you're this amazing leader, and maybe you're not. Like, maybe there's someone else that's better, or maybe you are able to handle and manage all these things, but maybe you can't. And I think it's just dip your toe in, see if you can do it, see if you like it, see if you don't. If you don't, come back, don't do it. You know what I mean? Just because there's too many moving pieces in a dental office to know, well, I'm good at, just don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. And you have to be okay. The other thing that really helps is the 80% rule is that can this person, so the person that's doing the bookkeeping, can they do it 80% as good as you? If the answer is yes, then, and they're probably going to do it better than you because you were falling behind on it. You know what I mean? So it's like, even if them at 80% consistently is better than you at 100% inconsistently. So it's like, let somebody else do it and be okay with 80%. And that's a good rule that served me really well. And that kind of leads into our next point. You have to be a leader. And none of these things that we've talked about so far has anything to do with leadership. Hiring somebody, hiring another doctor, decreasing your profitability percentage, new levels, new devils, all learning all these different things. None of that has to do with leadership. Leadership is like its own category. And you have to be okay with that because as you get bigger, you have to step in and lead.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing to do, honestly. And frankly, it's so correlated to HR, it's funny. But like, I think the reason it's hard is because it's a selfless job. Like, you don't, there's no KPI that says like you were a great leader outside of, maybe turnover or something like that. But there's nothing tangible that says, man, you did a great job leading today. Like, it's kind of a feeling. It's kind of how like other people are around you. And it's something that you have to, if you're having a bad day, you have to get through that and still continue to lead well. There's just so many things that tie into that stuff. And I think as you grow, you get better and better at it because you become less and less selfish and more kind of like what you were talking about earlier is as you've grown things, I would imagine a lot of your goals have switched from what can Gary do to what can like you probably get more fulfillment because I know I do when I see a new team member come on and I'm like, man, like 6 months ago they were there and now they're here and that is awesome. Like that's fulfilling.
It is. And I love seeing people be like financially successful, like going from like a lower paying job to buying a house or things like that. It is very, very rewarding to see like, oh, we built this system that people can thrive in and everybody's winning, right? The patient's winning, the team members winning, I'm winning. And it is hard. One of the hardest things about leadership that I've learned is that the Superman syndrome. Have you ever heard of that before? So it's like as a small business owner, you are CEO, chief everything officer, and so anytime there's a problem, people bring it to you. Hey, we don't know where to throw away the trash. We don't know how do you restart the computers. What happened to the software? They didn't clean the back. Like you're just like, I'll fix it. And it actually starts to give you a complex where you feel validated in your day to day because you're constantly solving everybody's problems. And it does give you a dopamine hit. It's the same as like gambling or scrolling on Instagram Reels, right? Well, what ends up happening is when you move to leadership, you don't get that. Your job is actually not to answer their questions. Your job is to teach them how to solve their own problems and do it in the right way. And what ends up happening is you stop getting those dopamine hits and it actually feels like, dude, what am I doing? Like, where am I going in my life? And the dopamine hits come maybe like once every 3 to 6 months where someone's like, man, you really helped me through that. Thank you so much. And it's like, oh, cool. They won and they liked it.
Yeah, it's I think some of the best leaders, they lead in the future. So they have a vision of where they want to go. And I think those dopamine hits, they come from realizing, oh man, right now it's awful, but in 3 months, here we go. You know what I mean? And if you can't live in today anymore.
And difference is one is 4 to 5 times a day that you're getting dopamine hits, and the other ones you're getting them 3 to 6 months. And that's a hard, like most people don't catch that about themselves. I know I didn't at first. I was like, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel so empty? I'm doing everything that I wanted to do, but I don't feel the same. It doesn't feel good. And you gotta work through that. Okay, the last one before we give everybody these CE courses and the KPI course that's helped you get to this level is you gotta become a little bit of a super GP office. And not a full blown like super GP, but like you gotta add some specialty if you're gonna get there.
Yeah. I don't know of a single office that does 2 to 2.5 that just does fillings and crowns. There's probably one out there, but I don't know of them. And the thing you have to do is figure out how can you provide more services to the same amount of people. Because I mean, you know this, you've seen it, and I've done it, is you can grow a practice really well with the same patient base. You don't really need marketing until you have a marketing problem. When you have a flow issue, then great. But a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people just see the tooth that needs to be taken out, and they're not confident in themselves clinically to perform the procedure. So they get scared, which is fine, and they refer it down the road. But just know that you're making a trade there, right? And so if your goal is to get to 2, well, then you've got to go take the courses, or you got to go learn how to do the things and get confident in it, so that then you can provide it at a really high level.
I've seen offices really grow. Just they're like, oh man, I want to grow, and it's like, well, how much treatment are you referring out every month, every year? And it's like, just do that, do that.
I feel like I was in a group somewhere and somebody had mentioned creating some sort of calculator of some sort, to where you can plug it in and see. It might have been Colorado Surgical Institute. I think Tahir Dune mentioned, like, maybe, and then maybe even how they sell their course, right? It's like, how many dollars do you refer out per month? And then it shows, it's like, come take our course for X amount of dollars, and then you'll keep it all.
Yeah, it's crazy. And it's just like sometimes dentists just don't like doing the treatment, and I get that. Then you have to hire an associate to come in and do it. But if it's fear because you just haven't learned how to do the treatment yet, maybe it's time to learn how to do that treatment. If you want to grow to 2 million. If not, if you're happy where you're at, then that's awesome too. And I think that's where people get mixed up, is that they hear ambitious people and they hear that, hey, you're failing because you're not ambitious past where you're at. No, if you're happy working at Denny's, awesome. Like that's great. That is something that is amazing, and it takes all kinds to run the world. I don't care if people I don't look at people differently if they don't want to grow or if they're happy where they're at.
It's not like a, oh my gosh, buy a practice and you all of a sudden get to buy the house on the hill type of deal. It's like probably the opposite. It's buy the practice and you're going to eat glass. Yeah, you're going to suffer for a long time. And then that's when, like, there are a few people that when they're very young, they reach a capacity that's like, oh my gosh, I want to get there. But they're few and far between. I mean, that's why most people have been practicing for a long, long time. And then they're the quote unquote successful dentist on Facebook. But nobody sees the backstory. Nobody sees all the sacrifices they took to get there. And there's a million there's a ton of different roads to get there, like we talked about earlier. But there was risk, and there was challenge, and there was strife, and there were problems that they suffered to get to where they got. And I think if people could reflect on that and not just be like, well, if I can produce this in this office, I can do it in my own. And it's like, that's not really how it works.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this was a great episode, and we're going to, if you want these, Dr. Blake shared 5 CE courses that he took that help him get to this next level. So he's going to share those with you. And then we also have a KPI course. What KPIs as a leader do you need to start tracking to get to the next level? If that's you, those are all going to be free for you to access. And just there's a link down below or comment down below. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Dr. Blake, as always, thank you for sharing your wisdom with the world.
Thanks so much. I can't wait to get that KPI deal. That'll be great.
Hey, thanks so much for listening to the whole podcast. You're truly one of our greatest fans, and we really appreciate you. And we want to give you a $3,000 marketing credit to be used to grow your office. We have the link right down below. We'll meet really quickly. It takes about 15 minutes, and we'll tell you how you can save $3,000 on growing your office. And if you're an existing client, let us know, because this is for new clients, but we have some giveaways for existing clients as well. And it's great. So you'll love it. Thank you so much for listening. We really, really appreciate you.